saying like they were, yeah.
Pardonnez-moi.
Excusez-moi.
Pardonnez-moi.
Une chose you can see.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Madame and Monsieur, meine Damen, meine Herren, children of all ages, at this time there will be a cannon firing demonstration at point number 12, the Rush Monument. That's right, over here, by the giant
We're
cannon.
here.
That's the only tree in the entire fort. We are going to shoot a cannon. It is big, it is loud, it is awesome, and you will like it.
Yeah! Woo! We're ready.
I just love my job.
Oh, that was awesome. And you like it. Unless we have a heart attack because we're old.
I'm not old. What are you talking about?
Just me.
I know,
saying,
yeah.
Please, if I do, don't let me lay here for too long. I mean, tell someone else, but
I'll tell somebody eventually.
don't help me yourself.
Help me yourself.
I won't kick you too much or you know.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Thank you. What we are going to hopefully do for you right now is fire off a light bronze 3-pound cannon. That is this thing behind the crew right here. Now, take a good look at it. Does it look like it is light and or weighs 3 pounds? So why do we call it a light 3-pound cannon?
Of the weight of the ball. The ball weighs 3 pounds.
Because we use 3-pound cannonballs to fire it. That would be this thing right here. A 3-pound solid iron shot attached by tin strips to a little wooden sabot that houses a pound bag of gunpowder. Real impressive, isn't it?
Yes.
It would hurt.
Yeah, really, yeah. It doesn't look all that impressive if I do say so myself, but combined with the force that it is fired out of that cannon with, this ball can go through 14 human bodies lined up in a row. A little more impressive now, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So the way we're going to be using this gun is
Mythbusters
primarily
style.
anti-infantry. That is, anti-personnel. That is, anti-people like you lined up in a row with muskets pointed at us. Now, the way it's going to work is the first shot we fire is going to bounce along the ground, slow down just enough so that you can see it coming. Why do we want you to see this cannonball coming?
Because it's awesome.
Say what? I think you had it right. Speak up.
They're gonna grip together.
Well, let me put it to you like this. The soldiers here are going to be grouping together. They're regular infantry. They're supposed to be firing their muskets every 15 seconds. Now, when a cannonball goes through their ranks like this,
Wow.
that happens. Now, if you were in their shoes, do you think you'd be able to load and fire your gun every 15 seconds while your mates are falling all over you? No, of course you won't. So what we've done is we've slowed down your rate of fire. That way you can't fire at us, we fire at you, we put holes in you, we confuse your ranks, and everybody wins except you.
Yes.
Now, the full range of this gun is about a full mile, but its effective range is about half of a mile, so very short range, all things considered. Once more, not designed for taking down an entire fortress by itself, just designed for taking out enough of you guys so that you don't bother us anymore. Now, out there in the lake is a green buoy. At least there should be. Yes,
Name's Jim.
that green buoy is the full effective range of our gun, from here to there. We could technically put a hole in that buoy. I don't want to, that will land me in trouble. Now,
And I have it on video.
another thing that I'm going to tell you before we begin the demonstration is that I can't fire this cannon all by me onesies.
Oh.
I've got to have a full crew behind me, namely these miscreants.
Hi.
They are all representing soldiers from the 8th Regiment of Foot, the King's Regiment, infantrymen. I'm representing a man from the Royal Artillery, 4th Battalion. Now, as an artillerist, I can read, I can write, I can do basic math, I can understand everything necessary to work a gun and hit my target with it.
He's compensating.
Yeah, well, at my age, you know. So,
He's acting.
these guys behind me here, with the exception of maybe the musician, they can't read, they can't write, they can't do basic math.
She can. Or he.
Not on the average, anyway. So usually they're not the most ideal for a gun crew. That would be me. So considering that a full gun crew is about 12 people, and we had 38 cannons at Fort Niagara, how many artillerists do you think we would need?
No.
450.
Let's just say a lot. Guess how much we had? We had 13. So that is not enough artillerists to cover all these guns. As such, we're going to need to trust our gun crews to these guys. Best decision I ever made, I know that. So,
Sorry.
now that I've excused their presence here, let us begin. We will be taking you through step by step of the process to make the gun safe. So, gun crew, man out the piece. I will be playing the role of your gun commander for the morning tide here. That means I give orders. It's apparent because I have a loud voice and a fancy uniform. That's all you really need. Notice how the cannon crew is just hubbubbing around the gun right now. That needs to stop if we're going to fire this thing. So, gun crew, take care. They snap to attention. 10 bent. Will there has a leather thumb stall on his thumb. That thumb stall will keep the hot barrel of the cannon from burning his thumb while he covers what would be the vent hole of the cannon. Now that vent hole is meant to basically house our fuse charge. Charge a loose powder that will leave the flame inside the gun to set it off. When he covers it up, he starves the barrel of oxygen. Without oxygen, fire can't burn. Without fire burning, we're safe. We can't blow up if we don't want to. Search piece. Alan there has what's called the wad hook, or the worm. The wad hook is essentially a corkscrew-looking thing that he runs down the tube of the cannon, spiraling it back and forth in his hands as such. This is supposed to rake out the inside of the gun and remove any bits of debris that were left over from the previous shot. Notice, he does not use his thumbs while he handles the implement. This is basically a safety measure. If the gun were to fire before its time, it would shoot the implement out through his hands. But if he were holding it with his thumb, he wouldn't be able to let go in time, and he would follow the implement out into the lake. There is record of this happening. The poor gentleman had spaghetti arms for a few months afterwards. He survived, but he was never the same. Now, after the barrel has been searched, sponge piece. Jake there has the sponge. It is essentially a long rod with a length of sheep's wool wrapped around its head. It is then soaked in water, and we run it down the barrel, and let me hear that again. You all hear that loud popping sound.
Yeah?
That means that a vacuum has been created inside the barrel. The sponge forces the air out, and then when it is pulled back out, it makes that resonating sound, marking that we have effectively starved the barrel of oxygen. Nothing can burn now. We are completely safe, hopefully. Now, if you hear something like this, that light hissing noise, that means that Will is not doing his job on the cannon properly. Oxygen is flowing into the barrel. We are in danger, and that gives Jake the right, the privilege, and the pleasure of smacking Willie in the face with that dirty sponge. That leaves a big old black mark all the way down the side of his face, marking him as an incompetent gentleman. Now we may feel free to heap abuse upon him for the rest of the day and give him extra chores to do, because he deserves it for endangering our lives. Once the gun has actually been made safe, now is the time to actually load it. Handle charge is the next command. In addition to your gun commander, I'm also portraying your powder monkey. Yes, that means I'm going to be running the charge from here to there on the command, advance charge. Now notice, when I ran the charge up, I was hunched over, kind of like a scurrying monkey. That's what the British thought anyway, which gave me the name the powder monkey. I run hunched over like that to protect the charge with my body, so that no flying embers can possibly hit that bag of gunpowder and set it off before we deliver it to the front of the gun. Now once it's been delivered to the front of the gun, we may now load. Alan loads the gun with his left hand and his left hand only. How many people in the audience are left-handed? Fair number of you. All right,
Which is
as they say, in the 18th century, nobody was left-handed. Nobody good, anyways. You see, if you were left-handed in the 18th century, that just meant your parents didn't love you enough to beat you enough into being right-handed like all the other little good boys and girls. So rest assured, our parents loved us very much. So we are all right-handed. Everything dangerous, therefore, is done with our left hand. Because if something goes wrong and the gun blows our hand off, big deal. We still have our important hand to do all of our work with. Ram down charge. Jake reverses the sponge. It's got a bit of a button on the other side of it so we can ram the charge to the back of the cannon, seating the bag of powder perfectly under the vent hole. This leaves Will free to pick and pry. Will has a long brass needle on the end of his hand. He shoves that down the vent hole of the cannon, piercing the bag of gunpowder. That opens it up to a charge of loose powder from the outside. Now once he's laid down this charge, which will function as our fuse, he covers it once again with his left hand. He then raises his right hand in the air, signifying that this cannon is ready to be fired. Next command, of course, is gun crew make ready. Everybody steps aside and covers their closest ear, except for Tanya, who has the lint stock. The lint stock is essentially cotton rope soaked in potassium nitrate and vinegar, a chemical combination that allows it to burn slowly like a lit cigarette. It'll also withstand many elements such as rain and snow. Now another thing you'll notice is that it's at the end of a long stick, so Tanya can keep her distance from the gun and not set herself on fire. Now on the command, fire, the gun will go off. Now if you'll excuse us while we actually light the lint stock and prepare to do this for real, I'll share with you another quick couple of facts. A gun like this, you just saw that whole process and how long that took. That's supposed to take us a grand total of 30 seconds. So that's 2 shots per minute that we're firing out of this gun. Now sometimes you can get even more than that by ignoring this safety rule here. All of these steps could be reduced to simply removing your thumb from the touch hole and allowing embers to burn again. So that just means stop, load, lift, boom, stop, load, lift, boom. 14 times in a minute that can be done before the cannon blows up and kills your crew. So I challenge you to beat that record and survive. Now it seems that we're just about ready, judging by all the hubbubbing. So, gun crew, take care. 10 vent, search piece. Sponge piece. Handle charge, advance charge. Load. Ram down charge. Pick and prime. Gun crew make ready. And like the people just said, cover your ears.
what?
Fire!